And then your speaker of the day, Dan Sally, will hopefully give us some good jokes and some education at the same time. And then more networking, more beer.
When are you going to announce the winners?
Yeah, sorry. The winners will be announced at the very end. So stay to the end. If you have to leave for any reason before that, it's fine. Showing up today got you entered into the contest. There's going to be 4 winners. One wins a ticket inbound, which you're probably all aware of. The other got some swag like t-shirts, coffee mug, things like that.
Did everybody sign in? Just make sure.
Has everybody signed in? You're not entered if you have not signed in on the iPad.
Yeah.
So if you
If you haven't signed in, go to the registration desk and sign in. That's how you're registered for the contest.
All right.
All right, that's important.
Can't tell, you're not allowed to enter. All right, I am Hanson Hunt. I've got 4 Twitter usernames. Feel free to follow me at all 4. I'm a native San Diegan. I am from the same college that Dick Dixon went to. Also another alma mater here in the house too. And I'm a craft beer geek. If you didn't know, I love craft beer. That's why I have this event here. And I also work at a craft beer bar called San Diego Beer Works. A little pitch for the court. Follow San Diego Beer Works. Awesome place up in Sonic Beach. I also take kickball too seriously. If you've been to the last meetups, you know I've been suffering from injuries to kickball. So I'm better, I'm back in action, and I'm kicking balls again. All right. My co-leader in
Wait a second, you
crime.
gotta just let that sit with the audience. That's the key, it's the key.
I'm trying to one on my comedy sketch.
You're doing great, you're doing great.
Sorry, sit in front of me, so I'm nervous.
Well, turn the other way around.
Yeah. And my co-leader in crime, Nicole Pereira, I think it's her last name. She's in the back, she's waving at all of you right now. She's a beautiful young lady checking you in. She's also a native San Diegan, SDSU alum, online gamer, super geeky, just like the rest of us. And she's a mom, entrepreneur, and tech nerd. She does everything. If you haven't met her, I recommend going and shaking her hand. There's nothing she hasn't done or can't do, and she'll say yes to doing everything you ask her as well. And next up is, who is Dan Sally?
He's not funny. I could next him. He's not funny. Dan Sally, is he funny? Not funny. Not funny at all. Dan Sally? Who's Dan Sally? I'm going to let you in on a little Hubspot secret. When you first start here, Brian Halligan takes First is when in doubt, blog. The second is in the end, culture wins. And the last thing he tells you is whatever you do, don't follow Dan Sally on the stage. Dan Sally, a man who has a name. In fact, there are 2 first names. Listen to him and just pack it in at your own time. You see that guy right there? That's your man, Dan Sally. And he's my favorite because he's got many children. He's a comedian. Look him up on Google, Gotham City, Dan Sally, pretty funny. And he's a pleasure to have an office right next to where we sit. Dan Sally is the man. Anybody would be left to learn or be entertained by him. Hey Nicole, it's Brian over at Hubspot. I'm submitting my vote for Dan Sally as by far the funniest Dan at Hubspot. Dan Sally is amazing.
So that little video, Nicole and I worked hard to get all these HubSpotters who love Dan Sally to submit their testimonials of them.
And you found some.
We found some. Unfortunately, as Nicole pointed out, they all suffer from vertical video syndrome. So there's only a couple that knew how to do a video, for real. But enough said. First, you're going to hear from the amazing speaker, Tyre. If you guys have been here before, you've heard him before. He speaks on a subject like inbound revolution, gets you excited for what inbound is doing in the world and how it's taking over the marketing game. And he's also going to give you a little bit more scoop on the actual conference this year, which we have some good news today. So everyone give a round of applause for Dan Tyre.
I love to come to San Diego. This is my third or fourth San Diego hub. Such a great community here.
Where are you coming from?
I actually live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I commute every other week to Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is where Hubspot is located. Although now we have a office of about 100 people in Dublin, Ireland as well. Right? And, yeah, very excited. And actually we have a announcement in slide 11 that I don't want to pre-announce. That we'll also talk about other areas. Come on, Hanson, come on. I've been blessed in that I've been part of the inbound revolution for the last 7 years, right? I was the first salesperson for Hubspot, first sales manager, first sales director, and I got on the phone in 2007 and talked to people about inbound marketing. They like squinch up their face and they go, what are you talking about? And now inbound is this whole category and a whole philosophy. And you're going to start hearing more and more information, not only about inbound marketing, but inbound sales, inbound service, and the inbound company. And all of that's designed to play to the way people buy. I'll talk to that in a second. So I've been pleased to be an inbound marketing pioneer. I'm speaking now at my fourth inbound. This year my topic is how to motivate sales millennials. Anybody a millennial in the audience? All right, so after the presentation, come up to me and tell me how you'd like to be motivated. And you may get your picture in my presentation, right? And I'm happy to feedback anybody manage millennials. And, okay, very good. I'm very interested in hearing that feedback as well. It'll be a super time. Then in 2007, I invented the term schmarketing. People understand schmarketing, sales and marketing alignment. Right? The background story is I'm sitting with Mike Volpe, the best CMO in America, CMO for Hubspot. And we're just starting to get inbound leads in 2007. Right? Before that, 2006, we called all of our friends. We did cold calling, we did trade shows, we did all of that stuff that lots of people still do. And we were starting at the early stage of inbound leads, people dropping their contact information on the website. And I said, Mike, I need more of those inbound leads. He goes, I can't do it. I don't have any headcount. And I go, what kind of headcount you need? I need a content strategist. I need somebody who can blog. I need people who can create offers. I go, all right, I'll give you my headcount. And he cocks his head and he goes, really? You would give me sales headcount to marketing? And I go, absolutely. Those inbound leads are much more valuable than outbound leads. They close much more quickly. They have much better velocity. Here's the headcount. I go, it's not sales, it's not marketing, it's schmarketing. And that term kind of clicked. Right? And so lots of people talk about that. We have a slot on sales and marketing alignment as well. And love to hang out in San Diego. This is a very vibrant inbound community. I don't know if it's the weather or the commerce or the people.
Or the beer.
Or the beer. Very good answer. But it's just a great place. I don't know if Dan's going to leave, right? He came from the confines of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it's just a great place. Our business is booming. We'll talk a little bit about that. The ecosystem is booming, and it's, as usual, I'm very excited to be here. So I've got big energy. I'm known for my analogies, right? If I start talking too quick, just start going like this, right? Or I'm known for going down tangents all the time. Things pop into my brain, and I just start talking about them, right? And I talk very, very quick. So you can tweet me, you can take pictures of me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, right? You can connect with me on Twitter, and I embrace all forms of social media. All right, so how many people have been to inbound before? All right, Sean, stand up and explain a little bit about what the inbound experience is about.
Great concerts, good networking events, incredible content, Boylston Street parties, good times.
All right, anybody else have anything to add? Anybody else have been there?
Caitlin's been there.
Caitlin, what'd you think?
It was fantastic. The content was incredible. The sessions, they're really hands-on, so you can actually learn things and take them home with you and start implementing right away.
Yeah, so I was there at the first one. There's like 300 people. Now there's 8,000 people who are going to this guy. 8,000 people. Just think of like 7,950 people other than the people in this room in one location. right? And it's the same kind of people. Our tribe skews female, marketing, and just really nice people who believe in content marketing and creating content and not spamming people and not being evil marketers, right? And when you get 8,000 people like that in one room, the energy is amazing. It's the ultimate networking event. Right? You go to Inbound, you'll never have to look for a job again, right? Number two, it's just like Caitlin was saying, there's a ton of stuff that we present, actual factual, that you'll come away, your head will be spinning. You'll be going, oh my, what's that?
I said that before. She said
Oh, you did that?
I would disagree with that.
All right, Sean, very good. Sean and Caitlin, good team there. And you'll be incredibly overwhelmed, but you'll have a strategy. Right? And then it's just a lot of fun. It will be great. And so we have an announcement, don't we, Hanson?
We do. So we officially have 30 people from our San Diego group going to Inbound, which means we only had to hit 25 for each and every one of us to get free VIP. $499 value, each and every one of us gets it. So we're all going VIP this year. If you guys haven't registered yet, you still have time. I think we have to the end of the month before we have to turn in our names to get our VIP upgrade. Don't miss it. Don't delay on that.
What if you already bought the VIP upgrade?
What if we already bought the VIP upgrade?
Oh, I have no idea. But
I'll find out for you.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Because I saved so much early.
I know. It's all good. It's all good. What do you get for VIP?
You get reserved seating for all the keynotes. What?
That's what I'm most excited about.
Yes.
Think about 8,000 people trying to see one keynote speaker. VIP gets reserved seats, so you don't have to fight.
Oh, and Wi-Fi and power, access to Wi-Fi and power cords, so you can charge all your devices.
Very good. So based on
everybody's getting it.
Based on the great job that Hanson and Nicole have done, all of the people who are going will qualify for VIP. So it's very exciting. It's a testament to the great Inbound culture that we have here, and we're super excited about that. I'll be there. There'll be some hug events there, and try to find you. Attend my session. Martha Stewart. Anybody ever see Martha Stewart speak?
No.
Anybody interested in seeing Martha Stewart speak?
Yes.
Yeah. It really breaks down in gender lines. Most women would love to see Martha Stewart present. Most guys are kind of ambivalent about it, but I'm pretty excited. I think she's still a billionaire. She's been in jail, right? She's very funny. I mean, that's a pretty eclectic mix of someone I'd like to see present. All right, this guy with the funny hair is Malcolm Gladwell. Anybody read any of his books? Okay. He's really an amazing writer. He takes very complex subjects and makes them very understandable. Outliners. Latest one is David Goliath. He's a great speaker. That's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Guys at Kawasaki. You guys know Guy? Right? EntrepreneurGarage.com. He's on the Hubspot board of advisors. He will be there for a couple of days. He's very, very accessible. He's one of those guys you can come up and just, fist bump, and he'll be there. Brian and Naresh, of course, the founders of Hubspot, will be speaking. There'll be some really interesting product announcements around inbound marketing, around inbound sales. Super excited about how we're going to reward our customers for being great, helping us grow over the last 7 years.
These are who are so far have your names for VIP.
Okay, good.
This means you're registered for Inbound, and I know you're registered. If you don't see your name up there, I don't know you're registered.
I was going to add VIP, get a signed copy of his latest book.
Of the book?
That's true, you do get a copy of the book.
Of his latest book? Of Gladwell, I believe.
Gladwell's.
Yes, Gladwell's book,
Okay.
David versus Goliath. Small businesses against big business. All right, if you're going and your name isn't there, let Hanson or Nicole know, all right? Because we want to make sure that we're correlating it appropriately. And I think we're pretty close to doing it. All right, so once again, San Diego State. All right, how many people were here for the Dan Zarella presentation? Did you like Dan?
Yeah.
Was he good?
Yeah.
Was he funny?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he left San Diego, and a week later, he's on ET, Entertainment Tonight. Did you guys see this? Okay, based on all of the hoopla that these guys built, he's the world's leading authority on selfies. I know. I thought I was the big Dan at Hubspot, and Zarella shows up going, "Oh, I threw my slipper at the television for crying out loud. How the heck did he get on ET for crying out loud?" How am I going to beat that? How am I going to beat that? And then I got Dan Sally coming in, and I go, oh my goodness. There's one other Dan that Nicole and Hanson asked me to bring in. Anybody ever hear the show Silicon Valley?
Yes.
You guys like Silicon Valley?
Yes.
All right, there's a HubSpot fellow by the name of course, Dan Lyons. Okay, Dan Lyons is a writer for Silicon Valley. So if you want the fourth Dan to come in and present, just ask Nicole and Hanson for Dan Lyons, and maybe he can do the October thing. He is a 50-year-old guy. He's a subversive. He's got a teenager's brain and an old guy's body, right? And he can twist a headline like a pretzel, right? And he used to be the fake Steve Jobs. Anybody ever heard of the blog Fake Steve Jobs? He invented it. He wrote it. And now he's writing Silicon Valley. So he's got lots of, he'll be at Inbound as well. He's got lots of stories and ideas. And if you want him to come and speak to Carl Strauss, we're happy to do it. All right, so wherever I go, I always give at least 5 minutes on Welcome to the Inbound Revolution, 2007 to 2014. I'm passionate about the things that you guys are doing to make sure that marketing comes to the forefront. 2007, how did you buy something? If you wanted to buy something in 2007, how did you do it?
Went into a store.
You went into a store, right? You had to talk to a salesperson. Ooh, you had to talk to a salesperson, right? And was that a desirable experience? No! Oh, what? Well, depends.
Like, I would probably, at that time, I was buying camera gear and I wanted a hand camera.
Yeah, sometimes it was great, sometimes
But
it
sometimes
was...
it was...
Ooh, it was gnarly. The guy didn't know anything, you knew more than he did, he didn't have any of the research, all he wanted to do was put you in the closing sequence. Lots of people had bad ideas over that. Well, how do you buy something today? 2014.
Research it online.
The first thing that you do is you ask your friend. You ask Hanson, Nicole, Dan, Sally, you ask Chase, all right, what is, do you know somebody who can do this for you? Right? And that will always be your best, cheapest, and most effective type of leads. It's word of mouth. Many of the entrepreneurs we talk to close 60% of their leads. 60%. Why? Because they're all referrals, right? And people come with built-in credibility and trust. In 2007, exactly what Alicia said, and that is you go and ask for a referral, and if you don't get one, you Google it online. Now, why do you do it, Alicia?
In 2007 or now?
Why do you do it now? Why do you Google?
To become educated on whatever I'm purchasing.
That's right. You become educated, you instantly have access to this information. You get about 1 million responses in about a quarter of a second that Google renders to you that you can parse through and you can manage control. Okay. The underlying importance of this is that in the old days, sales did 95% of the work, right? How many marketers do we have in the audience? How many salespeople? How many CEOs? Handful? Okay. So it used to be that the marketers were always in trouble. They were always in the doghouse, right? You either didn't create enough leads and it was your fault, or you created too many leads of dubious value and it was your fault, right? And you took it and you handed it over to sales and they engaged the customer, they started the conversation, they demoed, they answered objections, they brought people in the closing sequence. Now, what Alicia says happens in every single industry. People go online. Right? And if they can't find you, if they can't find your content, if they can't find your reviews, if they can't find your blog, if they can't find your offer, if you're not getting to their vibe online, okay, you have no shot at their business. According to Aberdeen, people go through 65 to 79% of the purchasing process before they want to talk to a salesperson. It's a little bit different in different industries, but a significant more time spent on your website. So your website has to be the absolute focus, your best salesperson, the focus of your whole sales process. And if it's not, then you have to start practicing inbound marketing. So for the first time ever, marketing is more important than sales, right? Sales is still important, but if they can't find you, you got no shot at that business. So I tell CEOs, if you don't have enough money for inbound marketing, go back to your office, fire your 2 least performing salespeople, right? Give all the money to marketing. Right? Why do you do that? Because they're going to make it anyway. They're somebody's cousin, and so are they just not really serious about sales. And marketing needs money to create that content. Number 2, if you're a salesperson and not getting inbound leads, you should quit anyway. Okay? Because inbound leads are infinitely better to move along. They have more velocity, and they're people who are looking for your stuff. And finally, marketers, if your senior management doesn't understand inbound marketing, talk to one of the folks in this room, right? And we'll help you sell your boss. Right, I just did a presentation, how to convince your boss about inbound marketing, right? How to double your budget with inbound marketing, because it's super important. And we can show you 160 examples of people who've taken the lead over the last 7 years who are crushing their competition because of the way people are. All right, any questions on that? All right, next slide. This is how you do it. Just 1 minute on this. Number 1, you blog. How many people blogging here? Woohoo! I love it. You blog. right? You use the right keywords in your blog, strategic blogging. You blog to solve your customer's problem, not to tell people all about how good you are, right? Then you take that blog, you put it through social media, social networking, and social bookmarking. You track hundreds or thousands of keywords, right? You found out which keywords are more accurate for you, right? And you optimize every single page. What that does is it allows you to be found at the top of the funnel, and it allows strangers to find your website. Once they find your website, you want them to drop their contact information. Some people, about 3% according to ComScore, want to buy today. You have to have a button, not contact us, that's all about you, but 20-minute sales consultation, request a sales consultation, something like that. So those 3% of people can drop, and your salespeople will call that. But many people are just in the early stages. You have to have what's called top of the funnel offers. And if you want more details about top of the funnel, ask HubSpot partners here. You'll have calls to action, different colors, different types, different landing pages, different forms. The first time anybody comes to a website that's hosted or has HubSpot software running on it, we drop a cookie on their browser. We watch their whole path, and we deliver that directly to the sales team. Right? We'll tell you which pages they looked at. We'll tell you what they liked, what they didn't like. We'll even tell you when they're back on the website and when they open the email. The close component is email marketing, workflows, lead scoring and integration in CRM. HubSpot integrates with the leading top 40 CRM. And then finally, delight. In the age of social media, the ability to take your best testimonials and your best customers and amplify that so more people can get those kind of word-of-mouth referrals is super important. So any questions on the inbound marketing methodology? Does this make sense?
Yep.
Go.
My only problem with it is the lead bubble. I feel like there should be two terms.
Yeah.
Like, Janine, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just discussing, in our industry,
Yep.
we sell B2B.
Yep.
And so oftentimes we attract college students doing research.
Yep.
And that would be kind of a really long burn lead. And
Yeah.
I feel like they should be categorized differently and communicated with differently than a quick burn lead.
They should. We didn't have time to drill into it, but we talked about personas,
Yeah.
right, of targeting the right person. If you get a lot of college student leads and you don't want them, there are tons of strategies to segment them. You have, simplistically, a separate button. College students researching this particular thing, click here, right? You cater to that persona, all the leads that go through that, you don't have to work, right? You don't give those to the salespeople, go someplace else. But there are tons of additional strategy how to segment those out so you get to the right leads with the most velocity. Good. Any other questions on that? You guys, go.
Just a comment, but
Yeah.
I don't know what industry you're in, but we're exactly the same. We get 13-year-old girls, and we get big corporations. We do text messaging, like business text messaging. We only care about the big corporations. So we have what we call marketing qualified leads. Well, we have leads,
Yeah.
and then they become marketing qualified means that goes to the sales.
I just wish that
people.
HubSpot would let us flag them different. Because it'll be like, you got 1,000 leads. You're like,
Exactly.
999 and we're 13-year-old girls.
Exactly. And the great thing about HubSpot is it'll like look on their social profiles for their picture.
Yeah.
It'll be like 13-year-old girls. Yeah, okay, we'll contact them.
Exactly. Exactly.
One thing I do is, because in our contact us form, we get hundreds and hundreds of people looking for employment.
Yeah.
Even though we have a careers page with the full process of applying and all the questions answered, they still come to the contact us page. And I deal with all those leads that come to contact us. So I put a hidden field and mark it as subscriber without that, so it doesn't come in as a lead, comes in as a subscriber, and I just never address those. So.
I didn't know who.
Yeah, so you just create, in your form, create a hidden field, and just make it always select subscriber.
Got it.
Once again, one of the benefits of these type of meetups is there's tons of ideas like this, and just talking to you and other people, you can drill down into your particular area. How many people are HubSpot partners? Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Oh, we all
Wave your
sing
hands.
together, huh?
All right. Partner row. Okay. I like it. All right. These guys have businesses built on solving problems like that. It's likely 91% of our customers over some time in their lifetime will use a partner either for a short-term project or for a longer-term retainer, right? And so it's good to know and just kind of have a couple of partners in your back pocket so that if you get into a crunch, if you're generating too many leads, if you need a special project, if you have to create a particular offer, you can call Raleigh or Nicole or someone and help them. All right, not 51% of our business goes through the HubSpot partner channel. It has over 100% retention, right? And it's a very powerful way that HubSpot brings our technology and software to the community. All right, sales and marketing. Any of the marketers that raise their hand having difficulty with their sales organization, right? With senior salespeople not buying into the inbound philosophy. Okay, so let me spend 2 minutes on that because it's a frequent question that I get asked about it, right? The first thing is we have studies for Aberdeen that show that sales and marketing alignment, companies that have sales and marketing alignment will grow 20%. People who don't have sales and marketing alignment will drop 9%. I can provide you the study. Number two, the single most important thing is they need to understand that it's not just inbound marketing, it also has an impact on sales, right? And the ability for sales to lay off your top of the funnel leads, middle of the funnel leads, so that you can monitor that is critically important. The way we approach that is there's this whole, there's now a blog, the sales blog, HubSpot sales blog. Go to blog.hubspot.com. You'll see 4 blogs. There's an opinion, there's an agency, there's a sales, there's an insider, and there's a marketing blog. Go to the sales blog, and there's tons of content that we create for senior sales management so that they can buy into the philosophy. Right? HubSpot has a tool called Signals. Anybody using Signals? Okay. What Signals does is it allows you to understand when you're opening an email. If it's hooked to the HubSpot software, we can tell when a prospect is back on a page. We can let the salesperson know what page they're looking at, right? So that way you can pick up the phone, right? I do it all the time. My first line is, "This isn't too creepy, is it?" And they're like, "Oh my God, it's Dan, HubSpot, I'm on the pricing page right now, you know that?" I'm going, "This is selling in 2014. This is the way you do it. There's a reason you're there. There's a reason you're looking at this case study," right? The Get Signals tool is free. Right? So you can go to Get Signals and you can download it, right? There are almost 1 million people using Signals, right? And the inbound sales information that you'll see from HubSpot is all about accelerating individual sales productivity, because we know to help our marketers, we have to win over the sales team as well. The 3 things that I would say when you're going for sales and marketing alignment is, first of all, we can help you. We'll give you the research of how to do it. Number 2, let's just agree on goals. There's something called an SLA, a service level agreement. If they'll tell you how many quality leads that you want, the SQL, sales qualified, or the MQL, the marketing qualified, right? They should in turn tell you how often they'll call those leads to get to the end. HubSpot calls each lead at least 4 attempts. Call, email, call, email, call, email, call, email over a series of 3 weeks. We found that is the optimum way to engage. Right, so the first thing is agree on common goals and SLA. Second of all is get the right dashboard. Right, you can get salespeople that can get a sales role, user role in HubSpot so they can see the information, or you can just email it to them. And finally, there's a tool called Prospects. Anybody know about Prospects in HubSpot? Okay, so what Prospects is if anybody's doing cold call, any of your sales guys are doing cold call, it's a list of all of the domains that come to your website before somebody drops their contact information. And if you're doing any cold calling, those are the companies you want to call, because you can say, "Hey, somebody from your company, I don't know who, but somebody in your company is on my website, and I want to just reach out and let you know about my product and service." All right, and if you have any questions, talk to Partner Row, or anyone who's a HubSpot user will show you how to get prospects. You go right to the nav bar, it says contacts, you pull it down, prospects, you can do it. All right, is that helpful? All right, good. This is the results. This is the other thing that I talked with Vice President of Sales about. I said, you need more leads, right? And everybody either needs more leads, got it, or higher velocity of their leads, or more quality leads. This is the MIT study of inbound marketing. What it says is if you start with 1 to 5 leads, at the end of a year of using HubSpot, you'll have 15 times the leads, right? If you have 500 leads, at the end of 1 year of HubSpot, you'll have almost 3 times the leads, right? And so sales executives typically want more leads, and that type of return on investment is extraordinary. If you want this full report, go to HubSpot/ROI, and it's right there. Or just ask somebody and we'll be happy to send it. All right, so I would just like to give a 2-minute company update, because you guys are part of our ecosystem. We really appreciate the investment that you've made as pioneers into our software, our methodologies. We see 100% growth in Q3, right? HubSpot's now a $120 million company and scaling very quickly. There are $23 billion companies, software companies in North America. We want to be at 24. We know exactly how to do it, right? Until people start changing the way they buy online or they research, right? Everybody will use inbound marketing. And when we tell people, it's not really actually using HubSpot, it's using HubSpot before all your competitors start doing it, right? That's the key. You'll see incredible, explosive growth over the next 5 years. What do you think the saturation point is for inbound marketing in North America in 2014? Any ideas? Just shout out a number.
20%?
20%? Donna?
For this year?
For this year? 20%? Anybody higher or lower than 20%?
I think it's much lower,
What do you think it is?
like less than 5%.
That's 3%. Wow. 3%. You guys will look back and go, oh, no, I got it in 2012. I got it in 2014. When we talk about what Alicia's talking about, that's the way people research online. People know that, but they don't know it obviously the way you do, right? And so you're going to see unbelievable growth in the industry of competition, of partners, of everything, which is great for this ecosystem. It's great for the way people buy. It's great for you because you'll get information that's segmented and targeted, right? HubSpot has an application called Progressive Profiling and Smart Content, where when you come to a website, you'll be able to tailor that website response exactly the way you want to see it. So if you're from San Diego, you'll see certain information. From Arizona, you'll see other ones. If you're from Boston, you'll see other information. And every time somebody comes back, you'll get different questions so you can build a complete dossier. That you'll look back at a static website that most people have today and laugh at it like a spam email. And this stuff is coming very, very quickly. You'll see it all over that. All right, we'll spend $50 million on our software this year. You'll get all of that information, or all of that technology upgrades. You get it all the time, right? No additional charge. We have a continued commitment to a partner channel, 51% of our business. We have a big campaign for mainstream media, right? And you'll see more about HubSpot with traditional marketing things. And starting in August 1, the HubSpot field sales organization moved to a territory model. So there's a woman by the name of Jen Cedarchuk. There's a woman by the name of J.B. Doyle that covers San Diego, and you'll see those guys all around. And if you ever have a specific question about how they can help you, just let me know. All right, what's that? All right, HubSpot opened in Australia on August 1. We have 6 employees in Sydney, right? Anybody have any subsidiaries or other companies in Australia? All right, send them to me and I'll get them to Sam Schulman, a long-time HubSpot. You don't sell them to Australia, do you?
Not anymore.
But Dan did, yes, some of our greatest hits. All right, so now HubSpot, 3 main locations, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Dublin, Ireland, and Australia. All right, next slide. All right, anybody ever seen this? What is that? What is it?
Support.
Have you ever used it?
Yeah.
What happens if you push that button?
It pops up and then it gives you a phone number that you can call, or you can submit a question directly.
There's one other thing that will happen, and that is...
Chat.
Chat. There's 2 other things that will happen. Chat, and the second thing is they'll call you. What we found is that people who call our support line 6 times never leave. Over 100% retention, right? And so the reason you don't call is you don't want to wait online for 15 minutes. You want to talk to somebody on support. So guess what? We'll call you. Guess what? If we call you, we have to say, Michael, right? How are you doing? What portal are you in? What company you're calling from? It takes us 8 minutes to diagnose. If you click that button, we know it's you, we know where you are, we know which portal it is, we know how long you've been on that page, we have a better idea of the problem even before we connect with you. And so we can solve it in less than 2 minutes. It's a huge boon to our business. It's HubSpot proprietary technology, and that is the first kind of opportunity for inbound service, right? When we talk about the inbound company, right? The next phase is inbound sales, because we've got to get all those sales guys on board. They can't be calling your leads. They've got to be providing content. They've got to help you with blogging content. Right behind it is inbound service. That's the first thing in here. But we want everybody who's HubSpot folks to use that as a way of making sure that you get in the queue. And I'm very interested in your response to that. Okay. COS. How many people on COS for responsive design? Okay, several, very good. All of our COS users will be onboarded by inbound, just to make sure that you understand that if your website isn't optimized for responsive design, that means it will know that there's a smartphone or a tablet when you ping the website. You need to look into this more, and we'll be happy to explain to you. HubSpot has a content optimization system that can help. All right, next slide. All right, and anybody using the Snap Engage integration with HubSpot? Anybody using chat on their website?
Yeah, we use chat.
Okay, so what will happen, and are you using the Snap Exchange now?
No, I signed up for Zelda for 2 years, so I didn't talk to chat people.
Okay, what this will do is when people are chatting, it'll put that information right into the contact record, right? So as people are getting more functional about doing this, it's something you might want to take a look at. Okay, and what's next? Oh, we are so confident about our partner program that if you ever have a question, you go over to resources, you go down to partner page, and there's this guy, Austin, great smile, works in Cambridge, that will match you up with a partner if you need it, right? So he's functional on all of our top partners and be happy to assist you if you're not sure where to go.
Or you could just call this row right here.
Ah, that's very good. Okay, I'm wearing a Parrot Guy shirt. Feel the shirt, Dan?
Oh, it's nice.
See that? That's all organic content. This is a San Diego company, and Noel, who was here last time, always is nice enough to give me the shirts. I only speak in Parrot Guy shirts. If you come up and ask me, I'll let you feel my shirt. It's organic cotton that he grows in California, sends to North Carolina, and sells on the Parrot Guy site. Hubspot user. And Rob, you're supporting...
Yep.
Great.
Voting for Pure Ocean, it's their clothing.
Yes, very good, very good. All right, thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate it, and let's give it up for Dan South. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, this is stupid, but for the inbound event, do you have to also separately sign up for the educational session?
It is separate sign-up. There's a separate track with a separate cost, I think for the day earlier, right? That's the education.
That's for the Monday event.
That's right.
All the other ones are included?
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you signed up with the San Diego Hub code, right? You're automatically upgraded to VIP. If you didn't, just let Hanson know, and we'll make sure that your San Diego Hub code is in there, right? And then we'll get you upgraded.
And that means that on Monday I can go to the event?
No, it doesn't. It means that you get, there's still a separate charge for that, but it means on Tuesday you can sit in the front row, or sit in the front area. You get free game tickets, you get a free book, you hang out with all the bigwigs.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good question, though. Other questions?
What was the chat program? Snap?
Snap Engage.
Snap Engage.
Okay, how did I do with my 17 minutes? Oh, I nailed it, baby! Oh, that was terrible. I was twice as long as I should. I bet Hanson at lunch I could do it in 17 minutes, and I failed miserably. All right, so let me introduce my good friend Dan Sally. Stand up. You saw a little video. Dan is a 5-year HubSpot employee, currently works in the International Division headquartered in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He is the funniest Dan at HubSpot, all right? Bar none, all right? He used to be a stand-up comedian. He's going to sprinkle a little bit of his stuff in this afternoon because we thought you guys could handle it. And having been a pioneer in inbound marketing, he's seen some of the changes as well. So he's going to talk a little bit about what happens as the growth of inbound gets a little bit more saturated and how you differentiate yourself there. So let's get up.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you. First off, it was a little daunting to have to follow Dan Tyre. Dan is a man of a relatively high degree of energy. If you haven't noticed, his wife tells me he sleeps on a treadmill, and his sleep number is a 7-minute mile. And so anyway, so it's a little daunting, but I think I can handle it. The topic of today, given that so much was built up about me being a funny guy, I picked the hilarious title of channel saturation in inbound marketing, which is, it needs a little tweaking, but that's okay. So let's go to the next slide.
I'll take the blame for that. I think I helped you pick the title.
No, mine was worse. So I have an agenda. I think it's 6 parts. It's a 6-part agenda. Number 1, as you know, my clicking, is a game we call Guess the Prospect. I don't know if has anybody seen Guess the Prospect yet? I know Dan Tyre does it. No? Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Number 2, we have a little bit about me. Dan's already done that, so we're going to skip number 2. Number 3, what the HE double hockey sticks do I mean by channel saturation? Channel saturation is sort of my own little pet rock in a way. It's something I've observed develop in inbound marketing as it's reached a higher level of adoption in some industries. So I'm going to talk about what it is, how it affects everyone here, and some ways you can work around it. Then we're going to go into how to deal with it. We're going to have some practical strategies. Some of this will reference HubSpot software. I know we have a decent mix of people who are HubSpot users and not HubSpot users. So for the non-users, I'll add some sort of maybe generic strategies you can use. We'll go into questions and maybe some fun stuff. I may have to cancel fun stuff. We'll see if there's time. We canceled all the fun stuff. And then finally, at the end, everyone voicing up on their shoulders and crazy valued fellow. That is optional. Some of you have back problems and such. Don't risk your health. So, guess the prospect. This is a game that we invented at Hubspot about 4 years ago. Now, as you probably all know, HubSpot does a very, very good job of generating inbound leads. Most of those leads are from actual companies. The remainder, with questionable business models, make it into guess the prospect. So your goal here is to guess which one is the real HubSpot prospect. There'll be 3 editions, so 3 slides of 2 each. Your job is to guess who the real HubSpot prospect is. There's absolutely no prize for winning at all. We don't give out anything. It's strictly for the glory. So let's get started. Round 1. Naked sushi in Honolulu. If you're throwing an event and you want some new twist on it, you can hire a sushi model, who's basically someone who will go and lay in the buff on a table and you serve sushi on them, which doesn't sound very sanitary. I have a tough enough time getting small talk with the guy at the omelet station at brunch, so that would just add a whole new level of awkwardness for me. Or we have the Bigfoot Museum, located in Maine, in the lovely northeast United States. So, everyone who thinks it's naked sushi, raise your hand. Okay, Bigfoot Museum. Okay, naked sushi people, stand up. You're moving on to the next round. All right, here we go. Stay standing. Stay standing. Cross elimination. Okay, round 2. Kids Army Shop. It's an e-commerce site that focuses on kids' army toys. My favorite is the Black Ops balaclava, in case your kids are playing in any scenarios that take place in Chechnya. This will be very useful. And then we have, next one, turn your Doberman into a poodle. You see the Doberman's looking confused there, and then if you click it again, see, there we go. I don't know why you do this. I don't know what the point of that is. But they do have, coming soon, you'll notice they have a golden retriever disguised for German shepherds. And an old English sheepdog disguised for bull mastiffs. So, okay, so how many people think it's Kids Army Shop? Okay, poodle? Okay, click it. Kids Army Shop. Ooh, and it's spinning. The crowd is spinning. All right, here we go. Round 3. Be a CIA agent. Yes. You can register online. I didn't know you could do that. And of course, the thing I like about this is this right here, because nothing says clandestine operations like a tricked out Mustang with flashing lights on it. You know, you're just going right into the background. And then let's click it again. Next one is Miguel Caballero's bulletproof attire. With the slogan, yes, it's bulletproof. Formal wear you can get shot in. And it's one of those, like, why didn't I think of that first? Like, really? You know, how many times have you gone out, you have your tux on, and somebody just blows a hole right in it, and you know, they dry cleaners, and they say they can't fix it. It's a mess. How many people, so how many people think it's number 1? Who's number 1 again? CIA. CIA. How many people think it's joined the CIA? 1 person. How many people think it's bulletproof attire? Let's see. It's bulletproof attire. Yeah. Thank you all for it. We do that every month. So let's move on. A little bit about me that Dan hasn't already told you. This is me dressed to the max with my youngest son, Matthew. As Dan said, I've been at Hubspot for about 5 years. Prior to that, I was pursuing a career in stand-up comedy. So I did stand-up for about 8 years. Made it on TV, which was a big achievement. That's sort of like the high school diploma of stand-up, basically. You know, I now get paid next to nothing for it. It's basically the idea. Always had a career in tech sales, and so I have 4 children now. Around the birth of number 3, I sort of had to decide, okay, which path makes the most sense, and my kids like having me around and not starving. So I chose tech sales. So around the time I quit, I actually found HubSpot, and I thought the whole concept and the software was about the coolest thing ever. And I've gotten to sit at HubSpot for 5 years, watch it grow, watch inbound marketing, gain adoption, watch the software change, and I still think it's pretty much the coolest thing ever. So I'm very happy to have landed here. The topic, we can switch to the next one actually, because we're just about there, because Dan took the rest. So The topic of channel saturation, or what I mean by that, is something that I've observed and a number of people on our consulting team have observed as inbound marketing has gained adoption in certain industries and gained more adoption in certain industries than others. So how many people have been doing this for, let's say, 2 years? Okay, how about 3 years? 4 years? Okay, so for the people who've been doing it about 3 years or longer, how many do you think it's harder or easier? Anyone want to? What do you think?
Much easier.
Much easier. Why is it easier?
Momentum. Once you start the process, it's much easier. Once you understand the process,
Okay.
it's much easier to fold it into your.
Okay. And what do you think about new entrants into the market as well? What do you think about now? Is it easy to get visibility to the?
There's no easier time than today because tomorrow there's only going to be more content online, more competition going on.
Yep. Yep. And that's what we've seen. Like Dan said, right now we have about 3% market saturation. So about 3% of companies are using inbound marketing as a tactic. We've seen some industries use it more than others. So for example, software, early on, Dan, that was a big one for us. Software is a big one. Pretty much every software company now, for the most part, is practicing some form of inbound marketing. And if you click on to the next slide, for the people who started inbound marketing earlier, for the people who are the first in your industry, it kind of looks like this. And if you click it twice, you'll see what I mean. You have inbound over here, and you have outbound here. So you have everybody going on the outbound channel. They're all trying to spend their way to get more leads, and it's just a mess. And then, of course, the early adopters were able to gain traction very quickly. There weren't as many people creating content, not as many people active on social media, not as many people using various inbound channels to generate business. Now, something's changed, of course, in the 5 years I've been at Hubspot, which is now, although inbound marketing only has 3% saturation or 3% saturation in the market as a whole, over half of all marketers now are employing some variety of inbound marketing. So one or more tactics in inbound marketing. And so what this means is you have more people using inbound channels to drive leads. And so now it looks a little more like this in some cases. So now you have a lot of people trying to go for the same amount of buyers online via the same channels. And in a lot of ways, this is going to sound weird coming from me because I work for Hubspot, but in a lot of ways, software has almost aggravated the problem. Because now you have these individual point solutions for email, and for social media, and for SEO, and so on. And so what that really means is that people now have the ability to broadcast messages at a much higher clip than they ever did before. And I don't know, is anybody getting less email today than they were getting 2 years ago? Anybody seeing less chatter on social media than they were 2 years ago? Like, no. It's just the technology has made it so much easier to get these messages out that in a lot of cases, in some industries, it's actually gotten tougher to get noticed. And I thought this slide was a little too pessimistic, so I kind of have another analogy to put there, which is I use the NFL as an example because if you look, in the 1970s, Mean Joe Green was the defensive tackle of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you click again, 6'4", 275 pounds. Okay. Now, if you go to today, Steve McClendon, same position. You click one more time, 320 pounds. So basically, you take an 8-year-old and you sew him to Mean Joe Green, and you have Steve McClendon here. And I think the point is that when Steve McClendon got to 320 pounds, all the other football teams were like, oh, he's too big, we just got to stop doing it, this just isn't going to work. No, they worked harder. They got bigger football players. And so I think for some of you who may be in more competitive markets, really what you want to think about is how do you make your players bigger? And for those of you who are first movers in your industry, really what you want to think about is how do I get as big as possible so breaking in is that much harder? Does anyone feel, I know a few of you have found it easier with time as you invested in. Is anyone finding it more difficult? Is anyone finding there's a lot more competition online in their industry? So what's your industry again, Tom?
Well, I have a number, I run a digital agency, but a number of our clients are content creators.
Okay.
And it's gotten much more difficult, especially on the social media platforms like Facebook, et cetera.
Yeah. Now, one of the cool things about inbound marketing is that it's aligned very much to the business model and to the best interests of the channels you're using. In the case of social media or in the case of search engines, both of them want the same thing, which is They want when you go on to Google or when you log into Facebook, they want you to see something you like. They want you to find what you want. And so they get better and better at figuring out what are real indicators of interest. You know, what are the things that people do when they're really interested in content? And they're getting better at figuring out whether your content is actually interesting or not. And so the fact is if you are practicing inbound marketing the right way, and again, I'm going to talk about some strategies in a bit, if you are practicing inbound marketing the correct way, your marketing is very much aligned with the types of behavior that these companies want to promote. And so regardless of the changes that take place in Google's algorithm, regardless of the changes in the way Facebook or displays content, or LinkedIn displays content, your practices are always going to be aligned with that mission. Out of curiosity, has anybody here been hit over the years with Google updates? Yeah.
We run SEO agencies.
Yeah. Yeah, and do you think and again, with what I'm saying about content, you found some content stands the test of time where others does not?
Yeah, it was actually really easy just a few years ago to rank the second almost no content.
Yep.
Despite all what Google said, and then I think in the past 2 to 3 years they actually got to where they can.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So when I started 5 years ago, SEO was just mechanical, more or less. It was X number of backlinks, put a keyword here, write a blog article, boom, you're number one, and the dump truck full of money shows up in your house. So, sort of like that. That's kind of a summary. But now it's a lot. There's a little more thought that has to be put into it, a little more strategy. And again, I think if you're content focused, and we're going to get into personas in a second, something that Dan mentioned, if you're persona focused, you're going to see a lot more traction with it. So, any questions so far? Am I going at a good speed here? All right. Beautiful. All right. So, perfunctory cliche, work harder, not smarter. Let's move on to the next one. We've all heard that. So, again, getting back to it, optimize around people, not keywords, not campaigns. That's the idea. So, some practical strategies for dealing with it. How many people are using buyer personas right now? Okay, good. So this will be relevant to all but 5 of you, which is nice. So, essentially, we can move this. Buyer persona, definition. All buyer persona is semi-fictional representation of your ideal buyer or buyers. So essentially, all of you sell to a certain number of people. There are a certain number of people that represent your ideal prospect. And what you want to think about is who they are. Like, for example, people buying text messages for businesses and 13-year-old girls. There's your personas right there. So that's really what you want to think about. Now we can go on to the next slide here. There are a few things you can do to create a buyer persona. And really the idea is to try and get inside your buyer's head. Try and figure out what the common problems they face are, what their day looks like, and what kind of content they're interested in. So like the first thing you can do is take your list and segment by demographics. So is there something common with is there something all your buyers or your ideal prospects have in common? Like, is there a job type?
They all use a computer.
They all use a computer. There we go. All right. You've got just 100% in that persona online. Anything else? Does anyone else segment by anything like this, like job title?
Job title, years in their position.
Okay.
You know, you're dealing with somebody that's been there for 25 years, you're going to attack it differently than someone that maybe is newly positioned and they're trying to shave money off of their department. And so those sort of, like motivation, how they learn, where they get their referrals, was the sort of thing that we create.
Let's get on to number 2 actually, because that's the next thing, is identify their needs. You know, figure out what their problems are. Figure out what their typical problems, what typical problems they're facing. What does their job look like? What's a day in life? And what are the things that are really going to add value to them and to their efforts when they're sort of in the early
What's
stage.
going to impress their boss?
Bingo. That's exactly it. What's going to impress what's going to impress their boss?
How it's going to help them get better to their boss?
Exactly. And then the last one is just figure out how they behave online. Are there particular channels that they like better than others? Do they read blogs? Are they active on Twitter? So for example, if you're B2C, maybe LinkedIn doesn't work as well as if you're B2B, things like that. So in terms of doing this within HubSpot, there is a tool built within the software that will actually allow you to identify these buyer personas and then create campaigns specific to these personas. So basically across social, across SEO, across email, you can have campaigns specifically designed for that persona. And again, the goal here is to increase engagement. Kind of getting back to something I mentioned about Google's changes and about changes on, for example, Facebook. The big thing that Google is moving towards now is trying to better measure engagement. Trying to better measure, when somebody finds this result, do they do anything with it? You know, do they stay on the page or do they bounce off? And again, they're just going to get better and better in doing this. One of the things they've started to do is weigh social media activity more and more into how somebody ranks. So now, for example, how many times your blog article gets retweeted is getting to be as important as the number of backlinks you have and where those backlinks come from. And so again, it just emphasizes the importance of really speaking to your audience, really making sure that, and making sure that you're measuring their engagement, measuring their interests. So, any questions or no? I'm not speaking too fast, am I? Okay, I tend to get excitable and I get on a tear, and that's tough to understand. Okay, so let's go to number 1. Social monitoring and prospecting. How many people here are using social inbox right now in Hubspot? Okay. Anyone want to tell me about it, about what they're doing with it?
All these people interacted with me through social media.
All right. Nice. So you got your San Diego user group stream then, is that
That's right.
Yep. So really one of the things that, social inbox is used a lot for engaging with existing leads and also maybe in a lot of cases, maybe some general marketing of your industry. One of the things you can do is you can, again, getting back to that persona, getting back to the things they're interested in, you can identify keywords specific to that persona and use that as a way to start filling the top of the funnel, start pulling more people in through social media. So an example that we use here is we'll use the term Google changes for smaller businesses and marketing automation for larger ones, because we know typically smaller businesses are more interested in visibility and larger enterprises are more interested in managing their inbound leads. And in doing so, we're splitting our social media feed, and we're also responding to them in a way and with content that really speaks to that person, as opposed to, again, just maybe giving a more generic message. Now, number 2, use dynamic content. Are people using dynamic content in HubSpot? The HubSpot users of the group? Yeah, Tyre is. He's his own piece of dynamic content. If you're on the, you don't have to be on the new COS either. You can actually use our smart calls to action in pretty much any CMS you have. And the way dynamic content works is it displays, what did you see here?
Oh no, we were just...
I just didn't raise my hand, so I was distracted.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's fine.
100% attention until
I'm not going to cut you out of the drum. Sorry. So what dynamic content does is it displays specific offers on site to who that person is. So what you know about them, to what they've done on your site in the past, to specific demographic data. And again, what that's going to do is that's going to increase the likelihood of conversion. First-time conversions, it's going to increase the likelihood of repeat conversions, and it's also going to give you a way to move that person through the buying cycle. So an example I cited here that's kind of okay is our target for international customers. So if you're in Europe, you're going to get your time in GMT, which is obviously a little easier to calculate from if you're in Spain, let's say, or Germany, than if you were to do Eastern Time US, which has a lot more time zones. But there are other ways you can use this. So one of the things that we do is we kind of have a sequence that's mapped out to our sales cycle. So what we do is we say, okay, you're in, let's say, the small business persona. So we know what your interests are. We know what's going to pull you in. So we use that piece of content, let's say SEO, for example, or getting more traffic, to pull that first-time visitor in. Once that person is in, we want to move that person from that subscriber to a marketing qualified lead. So again, that's somebody who's requesting, I think it addressed, a couple of you have this issue, right? With sort of, I mean, you mentioned this as well, that HubSpot sort of classifies all leads as leads, and you need a way to sort of segment them into different levels of interest. So again, what we do is we sort of take any explicit request for contact as a marketing qualified lead. One of the things we put up there, something maybe some of you have already done, is an inbound marketing assessment. And it prompts the visitor to register for an assessment where they'll speak with someone on our sales team. That person is going to do an assessment of their online marketing health overall, offer some recommendations, and if HubSpot's a fit, we're probably going to talk to you about our software if we're doing our job. But the idea, again, is to take that subscriber and move them to that next step in the process. Now, if I'm in a sales process, then what we want to do is back that up with content specific to the product. Case studies, testimonials, ROI, things of that nature. So really what you want to think about when you're using dynamic content is not just who is this person and what are they going to be interested in stage 1 of the cycle, but how do you get them to, how do you use that as a way to move that person along and get that person to take that next step, or at least tell you when they're ready to take that next step.
Is it possible to use dynamic content on non-HubSpot web pages? So if you if you use WordPress.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But is that done through the HubSpot platform?
It's managed through HubSpot. So the content's actually, so what you're seeing here is all managed through HubSpot. So you basically take whatever, either a button you've designed yourself or a button you've designed within HubSpot. You place that in HubSpot's call to action module, and then you tag the section of your site where you want that content displayed. So for example, if there's a banner, let's say that you have at the top of your home page, instead of putting an image there, you tag that with a piece of JavaScript, and then what happens from there is HubSpot is going to automatically display that custom content on that site.
Okay, and is that content based on a call to action button, or could it be just web page content?
So if you're not using HubSpot COS, it's just call to action, it's just a button. Okay. So our COS does allow for custom content as well. So quite literally, one person, if you have your site on our COS, one person is going to see a different home page than another person based on what they've done. It's cool stuff.
So through HubSpot, you can do more than just through the call to action button.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And can you also do it based on criteria other than a persona? Could you do it based on the job title?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, the one thing too is, you don't have to be too rigid about it. Like, so for example, let's say you have your 2 basic personas. You have your, again, I'll just use the HubSpot example of, let's say, domestic versus international. And so we're going to offer different content to people in, let's say, Europe than we are people in North America, for example. But all the same, you can still trigger specific campaigns based on, let's call it micro personas or whatever. So if you wanted just one criteria to show a custom call to action, you can do that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. This I'm glad you brought it up too, because again, not to belabor the point, but getting back to where Google's moving, getting back to the way Google's tracking engagement. It's not just important that they're doing that on their first visit, but they're doing that on subsequent visits as well. And again, if they're seeing content that's more tailored to them and more interesting, that's going to increase the engagement and ultimately increase how that page ranks.
How far does it carry through? Like, so let's say a certain persona sees this web page.
Yeah.
What about after that? They then click on some other link. How far does it carry through? You can send them to another web page specific to them, or is it one level?
You can do that. Really, the way it works is it can display content on one web page, for example. So again, if I visit, let's say, the company home. Let's say I visit your company's homepage, and I move to the next step in the sales cycle, whatever that is. Let's say I've reviewed some materials. Now I'm speaking with a salesperson. Now from there, that can actually change that content on that very page to what I'm interested in. So there's actually no need to build a separate page to move them on. You can actually just have the content change for them. It's not instantaneous. It happens when they take an action.
I don't want to monopolize the meeting, but one more bit.
Yeah.
So let's say that somebody filled out on a form that their job title C-level.
Yep.
And so if that same person comes back to your website, it can be set so that they're going to see a specific web page geared like a C-level homepage.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's cool stuff. You had a question, right? I'm sorry.
Just to follow up on what he's asking,
Yeah.
we're refreshing our website in the COS.
Okay.
The custom content is dependent on the contact filling out form.
Yes. It is, in professional, it's dependent on filling out a form.
Right.
In enterprise, you can do it based on page visits and things like that. Yeah, to be honest, it's a really cool feature. I feel like a lot of it's only as good as the amount of traffic you're getting to, so if you have just tons and tons of traffic, that specific sort of trigger-based content display is a lot more useful than if you're getting maybe 1,000 or a few thousand a month. So yeah, use good judgment the operating clause in HubSpot. So, and I'm sorry, yeah.
If somebody has filled out a form and you have a really similar form on a different page, is there a way to only have certain questions appear? Or I'm trying to remember, does it pre-populate those questions that they've already answered?
Yes. So it can pre-populate questions. It can also ask new questions. So maybe you only want to keep your form short.
Yeah.
Our forms in HubSpot are annoyingly long. There's actually a science behind it, but they are very long. I mean, you pretty much have to give everything in your blood type on there in order to get an ebook. So, but yeah, you can pre-populate the forms, and you can ask new questions as well. And again, I mean, I personally think, you know, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. I think you have to test it out, see what works better for your buyers, and then move accordingly. So, any other questions?
I was back in this persona only for enterprise level.
No, personas is for professionals. Oh, it's for basic too? Oh, all versions. Everybody gets personas. I feel like Oprah. Okay.
You get a persona.
Yeah, you get a persona, you get a persona, you get a persona. Number 3, specific email, persona-specific email campaigns. This should pretty much be a no-brainer. If I'm a C-level executive, I'm going to open a different type of email than if I'm, let's say, a director, or I'm a manager level, or an individual contributor. The idea is to present those emails differently according to the audience. And you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel here either. I mean, you can essentially take a nurturing campaign, clone that, rewrite the content for specific to that audience, and then have that run. So, and again, if you add a persona, you can change that as well. One of the things that we do, you'll notice here, is we'll do, in this case, we have 2 of the same pieces of content, and we actually change the call to action according to the market. So in the case of our European market, Lorenzo, you could probably speak to this. In the European market, in the US market, you pretty much have to hit someone on the face with a hammer to get their attention. That's just the way it works. In Europe, it tends to be sort of, we'll get back to you when we're ready, essentially. Am I more or less out there? So you'll notice here that in this email, we have email this to a friend or colleague. So very soft call to action. The idea is to get you to send this along so this person can convert, and then we have another person in our database. In the case of our US-based email, we have a call to action for get a demo. So it's like, get a demo. And again, for you all, really, as you're developing this, think about what kind of offers they're going to click on and incorporate that into email as well. Custom content and custom calls to action can also be placed in email as well. So you can change up the content of your email campaigns and change up the calls to action they see in those, just like you can on a website. So even you can send one email campaign, somebody gets a different message based on where they are in the sales cycle, for example, or where they are geographically. Any questions on that or no? Are we all still awake? Are we ready for the free drinks yet? Or are we, okay. So they still have tickets. Level 4, create social streams for ops and leads. So this is kind of where it all comes full circle. You've done the work of getting people via custom content, via social media. You've got them into your nurturing streams. You're moving them through the sales cycle. Now what you want to do is make sure that your social media feeds are divided by both persona, but also by stage of engagement. So am I engaged in a sales sequence with someone in your company? Am I a customer? And again, making sure that you're able to respond accordingly. So you'll see here, and I'm sorry to ask this again, how many people are using social inbox to target ops from leads differently? Anyone using that? Okay. If you're not doing that, start doing it, because that is one of the coolest features. One of the features that I actually personally use. Every member of the sales team at Hubspot has their own stream in social inbox. So we know when a lead is talking about something related to our business. We know when an opportunity is talking about it, and we can use that as a chance to jump on that right away. If maybe like some of you work with teams that aren't necessarily as social media savvy or aren't particularly interested in it, you can at least use this as a chance to forward it on to them and get them to jump in and engage. So really cool stuff you can do to move things forward with this.
Is it prospect in the HubSpot definition of prospects?
That's correct. That's correct. So one of the things I bring up is that this stream is specific to lists within HubSpot. So you can define a stream by any criteria you want. So for example, if you want to define this as people in IT whose title is director and VP, whose favorite cereal is Frankenberry, you can do that and then put all your Frankenberry specific content online right here. So, yeah.
The social inbox also, is it only Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, or does it also include apps like Foursquare, Swarm, where people are checking in and they're mentioning Hubspot?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So right now it does Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Twitter. In terms of monitoring, right now we're only monitoring Twitter. So you can actually really only build a social stream for Twitter specifically. Now, as you may have, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you can check, so for example, with Facebook or LinkedIn, you can check who's commenting on your posts, what they're saying, their relationship with your company. And again, you can do the same sort of things you can do with Twitter. It's just a little more manual. So.
So no.
What's that?
So no.
So no. There's a short answer. Yeah.
So the stream is, you say, okay, here's a list, right?
Yeah.
It could be all your prospects, all your contacts that are part of the person.
Yeah.
Certain persona.
Yeah.
And then it shows everything they post, or you filter it by when they mention certain keywords, or how do you?
So, yeah, you can do it by however you want. I mean, I actually have a stream that's all the people I'm talking with, and I just want to know everything. I want to know everything they're talking about. So if they're talking about the McRib, I want to know that they're talking about the McRib, and I want to be able to talk about my fabulous McRib experience. Like, it really depends on what you're comfortable with. Me personally, I don't necessarily mind having, or I shouldn't say mind, I enjoy having non-business related conversations with people I'm in some sort of business relationship with online, as opposed to just being sort of an inbound marketing robot. So, but again,
if we're more corporate robotic, is there a way to
if you're more
engage with people?
Yeah, if you want to be a little more, let's call it professionally focused or business focused, you just focus on specific keywords relevant to.
Can you filter that way, or do you have to dig for it?
Nope, you can filter. You can filter that way, yeah. So for example, some of the streams that you might think of are like competitors, again, industry-specific keywords, things like that. Yeah, and trust me, we do that too, by the way. Yeah. What else do we have? I feel like we got all the questions out of the way.
Can you search your scheduled posts yet?
No. We can't, we don't have that, do we? Or on our
Calendar
roadmap?
will come up so you can see everything.
Can you search it?
Yeah, but I like to search sometimes. Like we do follow Friday posts, and I have them booked out for quite a ways, and I'll be like, what did I write that one about? And I want to just search Friday.
And you have to.
Instead, I have to usually refine by like Twitter feed, and then just next.
Yeah, well, the calendar
Export it all out and then find
No, I won't even, I'll just hit next.
Will the calendar solve that, or no, Dan? No, okay.
Why don't they let us search it? Is there something like you don't want us doing?
So no, honestly, like with any, and this is something that, with us, there's a couple things we always want to figure out, and it's sort of like, number one, is it useful? And of course, in this case, it is. Number two is how many people, and number three is what do we have to sacrifice in order to get that done? So do we sacrifice, let's say, making the nurturing campaigns more spectacular for the search box, or do we do the search box first?
That's where you have the voting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So if again, for the HubSpot users here, if you're not voting for specific features, start voting. Like, because we really do listen to that, and we do let that guide our roadmap. So please, get involved there.
And you get 3 votes a month or something, right?
What's that?
You get 3 votes.
You have 3. You have 3 votes. That's it.
Per month.
Per month, yes.
Yeah.
So use them sparingly.
Or just use them all for that one that you
You can
really,
do
really
that.
want.
That's pretty much what I do. I just use all 3 at once because I like the stuff balanced.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Any other questions or no?
Go ahead. I missed the thing about voting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For a while.
No. I've been speaking too quiet. So, HubSpot does have an area where you can vote or suggest certain features.
Oh.
And so if there's something you want added, like like picture of me in there, you know, you can do that. The Dan Sally app's going to be introduced in December, so we're still working on that. But
so like if you were like, geez, I wish there was a search box when I'm on my publishing stream where you go to that particular section and you search first to see if someone else has asked for that, and then you can either vote on that or create an all new one.
Yeah.
But search first, because there might be one that's like 900 votes and your votes are gonna send it over the top.
That's exactly it. So go nuts.
So regarding the title of your presentation,
Yes.
you know that HubSpot has a title generator?
Yes. Why didn't I use the title generator tool?
It would just say it's 5 things to convince your boss
5 things to convince your boss about. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What variety of channel saturation are you, quiz?
Yeah.
Is what it would be, so. Okay.
And now you're taking hummingbirds.
What's that?
Now you're taking hummingbirds.
Exactly. So, any other questions at all? Comments? Was this useful?
Yes.
Good. I flew out to San Diego for a reason then. That's good. So, so I wanted to get to some fun stuff. One of the cool things, I love the way this is how it starts too. I honestly think that like every 7 seconds the human face just makes some ridiculous contortion and you don't see it, and the only thing that picks it up are cameras. And for some reason it always gets me. This is every picture going back to like when I was 8. So one of the cool things I've gotten to do at HubSpot, in addition to my standard role, is I've also gotten to do a lot of work with marketing on creating some funny content and creating some things that are more designed for humor than anything else. I guess if there's like a takeaway people can use with that, is it's not necessarily, if funny isn't your thing, figure out what your thing is. Like, is there something you do that's better than everybody else? And just do that. Put that out. Try and put content in that format and put it out there, because that's the type of thing that's going to outshine everything else. Now, for us, we have a really good video editing team. And they just pump out a lot of good stuff. And so every now and then we'll work on an idea for something that we think is going to entertain everyone, and we put it up, and either people like it or nobody pays attention to it, and it doesn't matter. This was one that really got a lot of traction. So we wanted to design a page for our unsubscribe, our unsubscribe page. We wanted to design a custom landing page. And so one of the guys on our video team said, well, why don't we do it like a breakup? Like, why don't we do sort of like a breakup theme to it? And so basically what they did is they took a camera and they just had me sit down in a relatively busy part of HubSpot's office and have a nervous breakdown for about 20 minutes, and then they cut it out and they turned it into this video. And this is a video, anyone unsubscribing from our email gets this video right away. Hanson, why don't you play it? What's that?
Okay, I get it. You don't want to hear from me anymore. I wanted to make sure that you had the best marketing information available. I mean, you clicked on the emails, you know I saw. I know you clicked on them. I know what you clicked on. Okay, that sounds kind of creepy. I wasn't like cyber stalking. Okay, I wasn't checking out your Facebook page or anything like that. Just forget that part. Just forget that part. Just notification. I didn't even look for it popped up. Remember when we had that webinar? Remember? Maybe if things were just a little, I could change from active. You don't need email. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn a fair bit, and we can be friends with benefits, right?
Now, actually keep it on this page because there's one. Do we have time for one more or no?
Yeah.
You want to see one more?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The funniest thing about that unsubscribe, or the irony of that unsubscribe video, is it actually got us more leads. People who had never even heard of us before were entering into our database because of that unsubscribe video. So that was a cool thing. Now, the window you see right... No, that's all right. I didn't do this one. But The next one I want to show you is something we did for inbound last year. So last year,
Outbound tactics?
That's it. It's outbound tactics. So last year last year I was emceeing inbound, and we wanted to put together a video series to amuse everyone. So I played the part of the recovering outbound marketer, and somebody trying to make the shift from outbound to inbound. And we did a whole video series documenting my journey from outbound to inbound. And this is the second installment, so there are 3 on there altogether. The first one actually has Blake Forrester from The Bachelorette. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he was in it, and that obviously got a lot of hits because he's a very handsome man. If you ever want to feel like a total troll, stand next to someone who's competed on The Bachelorette. I have pictures with him, and I just want to just sort of Photoshop myself out. I'm just uglying it up. So anyway, this video was number 2, where I'm kind of talking about how I practice, or some of my marketing tactics that I prefer.
Hi, I'm Dan Sally, and I'm very proud to say that I am outbound marketing. People don't have time to go on the web and search for products they want to buy, services they're interested in. They really need to be interrupted to grab their attention. Sometimes I'll dress up as a ghost, and I'll hide behind a wall, and I'll wait till they walk by, and I'll jump up and scare them. And then, once we've had a good laugh, then I can talk about our service or hand them a brochure or something like that. So a lot of marketers do what's called lead nurturing. And the idea is they send someone an email, and then they send a different email based on how they respond. Now, I think that might work for some people, but I think it lacks a certain personal touch. So I like to do the same thing. I have the same approach, only I add the human element than I do in person. The first step is what I call first contact. That's when I approach the prospect to talk about what I do. Hello, prospect. Would you like to learn more about how to improve your sales? If they say yes, I go right to the pitch. If they say no, I move on to the second step, which is signing up for my email list. Again, I'll let it simmer a bit, let them walk a few steps and think about it, and then hello, would you like to sign up for my email list? If yes, we go right to the pitch again. No? No big deal. Sometimes the buying cycle takes a little longer, and some prospects are a little earlier on in their purchasing decision. They need a little more time. So I'll follow them around, maybe I'll let them get a coffee, or when they're stopped at a crosswalk or something, I'll approach them again for step 3, the special offers. Special offers I have. If the answer is yes, we go right to the pitch. If the answer is no, again, that's okay. The buying cycle takes time, and some prospects need to be educated. So maybe it's time to add value. And that's when I get to step 4. Compliment their appearance. That's a very nice tie you have. Oh, what a lovely hairstyle you have. Now, if they're receptive to that, again, we go right into the pitch. No, again, no big deal. There's no pressure. They need a little more time. Now, there's a critical third element to this, in addition to the yes and no branch, which is when the prospect takes hostile action. Now, in that case, we move immediately to the last step, which is run. Now, for this step, it's very important you have a good pair of shoes, and you have some nice loose-fitting clothes that you can around it, because some of these prospects can run rather fast. Tried inbound marketing, but the fact is it just doesn't work. I mean, breaking the law, they can try getting somebody to feedback. Gotten 0 results from that. Now, pay $8 an hour to dress up in a chicken suit holding a sign. That's going to get some travel.
Good stuff.
So yeah, the rest of the stuff is online. We may be doing some stuff for inbound this year. I don't know, but you'll see it if we do. So
we don't get any inside secrets here?
Inside secrets.
They brought you all the way to San Diego. So.
Brought me all the way to San Diego. I've got nothing juicy for you other than, other than what's been already announced, which is Martha Stewart and Malcolm Gladwell, which are 2 people I'm looking forward to see. I'll be emceeing again. I'll be out and about, so if you're there, come and say hi. And I don't know, anything else? Any other questions? Or?
Maybe we should announce the winner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what about that?
We have winner. Do you have one more question before we go?
Yeah, I mean, if there's 3 others, I'll volunteer to carry you out on the...
Let's do it! Who's ready?
I need some other guys, other gals, and I'll do it. I'm in.
Good say.
I'm not doing it alone.
Okay. Okay.
You're in?
No,
right, we'll sing. You want to do the winner?
Yeah.
All right.
So we got, you know we're giving away an inbound ticket, but we're also doing 3 other winners, just some small swag. We've got 3 t-shirts, a couple coffee mugs, and if you really like ping pong balls, I've got several. So we're going to do 4th place is Adam Dunford. There we go. So, Adam shirt, coffee mug, ping pong balls.
Take a shirt.
All right. We've got large, or small. Now you're going to get a coffee mug. All right, 3rd place is Derek Beanstra. Where are you at? Still here? No, you leave? No more Derek? All right, Derek, here's a shirt. And Nana, our favorite Hubspot right here. The shirt? We got the large and small.
Large.
Yeah, make sure that is the large, right? Yep. All right. And we can do one more drawing, Nicole, if you want, for since Derek's gone. And the big winner, though, that's going inbound this year, VIP, of course, because we have 30 of us going, is Dave Gladson. Where are you at, Dave? There you go, bud. I would say you can have the small shirt, but I don't know if it'll...
I can't go.
You can't go?
I'm on vacation that week, so give it away again.
We need you to tell some jokes while Nicole's picking the new winner.
I really don't know any jokes.
Ask your question.
Yeah. That's my call to action. No, it was funny when I was, you're doing the drawing now, is that right?
Yeah, Nicole's gonna do it.
All right. Yeah, it was funny, I was like, as I was flying out here, when I was asked to do it, I sort of thought, well, okay, I want to do something that people are going to be able to walk away from and hopefully use in their day-to-day, just have some nice takeaways. And then as I'm going through the deck, I'm like, this just isn't very funny. And I don't think anybody else is under that kind of pressure when they present. Like, Brian and Dharmesh can just be smart sounding and they just get away with it. They don't have to be funny. I actually wrote, so last year's Inbound, Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah, the 2 co-founders, asked me to write jokes for their keynote. And so I basically sat in a room with them, they gave me their pitch, I took notes, and I just gave them jokes to use. And Brian had this one whole running theme about his dog, and his dog sort of had this, it was like a person basically, and the dog was saying, oh, we ought to buy this product, or we ought to buy this. And I was like, no, that's not really, you should just take that out, nobody's going to buy that, nobody's going to get it. And he kept it in anyway, he liked it, so he just kept it in. So I'm sitting at the keynote, and they're doing great, and they're getting laughs on every joke that isn't mine. Like, the dog thing killed.
Yeah.
My number 1 joke, the one that like I was ready for, just kind of crickets. So my dad was at that that particular keynote, and after it, he calls me up and says, yeah, no, those were great. So did you do this one? I was like, no, that was Brian's. And what about that one? No, Brian wrote that one. What about the dog? You wrote the dog, right? Like, no, I didn't write the dog. I actually told him not to do the dog. So that's my